How ghosts can stick on to living people and feed on their energy as they can become energy vampires. In the culture of North American Native American Indians, there is a concept of ghost disease, a mysterious condition of people which is supposed to be caused by the spirits of the dead who live in our world, something similar to the possession or the evil eye. According to the myths of the Navajo and the Muskogee tribes, it's difficult for ghosts to survive in the material world, but they can stick to a living person, feeding on his life energy. By draining the life force from a person this way, the ghost weakens the person, making them sick and weak, and sometimes even causing them their demise. And for this, they have a special term, phantom disease, the idea that the ghosts of the dead can return to cause sickness and death to living people is not actually a Native American invention, but goes back to the ancient world, where it's mentioned in civilizations such as in Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, China, and India. Each of these cultures had its own traditions, but more often it's said that such a dangerous ghost can be the spirit of a recently deceased person who was not buried according to the laws. Now, therefore, that is not the rules of their traditions. Now, therefore, to prevent this, there was a number of funeral rites and rituals. According to Indian beliefs, a restless ghost mostly clings to a person who is too absorbed in his grief for a friend or relative, or who has recently died, thanks to and thinking a lot about death, tries to communicate with the deceased relative through magical rituals, and generally pays a lot of attention to the subject of death and the dead in everyday life. The Muskogee tribes further believe that each person is filled with energy arising from the flow between mind, body, and spirit called Ibofanga, and ghost sickness can occur when this flow is disrupted, and whatever the reason, the attracted ghost will target and stick to the victim. A certain connection arises between them, which can additionally affect a person's environment. For example, around a person who is sick with a ghost disease, anomalous phenomena such as poltergeist phenomena can be observed. According to Indian tradition, the ghost does not necessarily want its chosen one to get sick and die, but must feed on its life force and spirit to maintain its presence in this world. The symptoms of this unearthly disease can be quite varied, including weakness, headaches, loss of appetite, dizziness, nausea, fainting, anxiety, depression, irritability, decreased interest in daily activities, inability to communicate with others, as well as nightmares and sudden feelings of terror. In some cases, sufferers may constantly see a ghost appearing in front of them or follow them, and it's said that if a sick person is not cured, he becomes weaker and weaker every day, withdraws from society, withers, loses weight, and in extreme cases even dies from an illness which his ghost caused. It's believed that the victims of ghost sickness should be treated as soon as possible, otherwise it may become incurable. Usually healing, quote unquote, involves rituals that ask the spirit to stop clinging to the material world and rest in the afterlife. But if the appeals are not heeded, then they turn to aggressive methods to drive the spirit away. In Apache culture, one of the ways to cure illness is to burn all of the deceased relatives' belongings, clean out anything that may remind them of them, move to a new home, and completely banish from them your thoughts without even saying the name of the deceased. It's believed that this will cause the ghost to surrender and disappear. In all cases, normal medicine or Western medical practice is said to be completely useless against phantom disease. The best way to deal with a ghost attached to a victim is to prevent it from appearing altogether in the first place by making sure the funeral is done properly and that the living don't get too attached to the departed person. Belief in the phantom disease is so great among the Native Americans that it is still debated. But in the eyes of modern science and medicine, ghost sickness is mostly considered a mental condition associated with unresolved bereavement, ongoing bereavement, or other psychological trauma, which then has a psychosomatic effect to create physical symptoms. However, Native American tribes reject medicine and to this day insist that ghost sickness is a completely real phenomenon caused by ghosts and spirits, and that only traditional shamanic methods can defeat it. Their pseudo-medicine, however, fully covers something similar to this from above and clings to people of low intelligence, but at the same time barbaric. It is also hereditary, from which disease all the so-called anarchists, anarcho-oryx, etc., do not belong to a specific race, but they serve in this tribe as zombies. They also have the symptoms of obsession and schizophrenia, and they call all this an incredible ideology. Not at all if you judge the masses, have lost all contact with the spirit and have become materialistic and something else also related to the above matter they have called diversity. So we see that the masses are literally out of reality, and the completely absurd things that are related to everything that is and in front of them, they see as completely normal long before pandemics, precisely because they're not in touch with the spirit. The even stranger thing is that while they don't understand any of what's happening in front of them, most of them talk about the evil and who knows about this, and conspiracy theories. Now, also completely absurd is that those who have nothing to do with the spirit themselves, with the result that they do not understand anything and see everything as non-existent, they themselves call themselves saints and religions, and they will go to heaven as spirits. And not only do they not see these as conspiracy theories, but they may even... Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.